Hi, welcome to our series, Supernatural Healthy Families. My wife adjusts my hair. My name is Rick Shaw. This is my wife, Renee Shaw. We're both ministers of the Assemblies of God, and we are concerned about the health challenges that are happening in our society today and even in the church. And so today, my wife is going to share 3 more ways to protect your husband's heart.
Yay! Are you ready today? Okay. So this is the 4th way. We talked about, the past couple days, we've talked about the number 1 way you can protect your hearts, ladies, and your husband's heart. That's what this one is about. But it's good for ladies too. And the number 1 way to protect your heart is to take fish oil. Then we talked about the second was to take vitamin D. The third is to take magnesium. You can go back on my husband's Facebook wall and listen to those. If you haven't listened to those are really critical also. But the 4th one we're going to talk about today is CoQ10.
Yeah.
CoQ10 has some amazing studies done on it. And at the Cleveland Clinic, which is a really major heart clinic, they did a study on CoQ10, and their findings show that it can significantly reduce it can significantly, I can get it out. Sorry. Well, anyways, it can raise your good cholesterol. Okay, let's forget the big words.
HDL levels, yes. Increase
Yes.
them, yeah.
So CoQ10 can raise your good cholesterol. And even more startling was that even in people taking statins. So for those of you out there that are taking statins, those are cholesterol lowering drugs. They lower the bad cholesterol, LDL, which there is good LDL, but it lowers the bad LDL, and it sometimes lowers the good HDL. But they found that when you take CoQ10, it'll prevent the HDL from being lowered. So stick with CoQ10 to raise your HDL, and it also helps to lower LDL and triglycerides. And another thing that the study found was that taking CoQ10 for your heart, honey, which I have you on, helps to lower inflammatory markers. And those are the things that cause inflammation in your arteries and cause the problem of cholesterol building up in your arteries, which can cause a heart attack. So CoQ10 actually increases the good cholesterol, and it lowers inflammation in the arteries, which helps to prevent heart disease.
Yeah, amen. And so to recap, CoQ10 increases HDL levels and lowers inflammation in the body. And how else does CoQ10 protect your heart?
So then the next study showed that, so like we said, a lot of people take cholesterol lowering drugs, which I'm not really big on. And a natural alternative to the drugs that lower cholesterol is red yeast rice. And actually there was a time when our doctor wanted my husband to take Crestor to lower his cholesterol. And he took it for a time, but then his liver enzymes went up, which is not a good thing. And so the doctor wanted to switch him to another cholesterol lowering drug. And I just said, hey, wait, doc, I've studied nutrition for a long time. What about if I have my husband take red yeast rice? And he said, well, that's what Crestor is made of. But the problem with drugs is once they molecularly alter them, they sometimes have side effects, where red rice yeast, which I have some right there if you want to grab it. So this is the brand that my husband takes. It is, let's see how I do that, red yeast rice. And it's mini tabs, easier to swallow, and it's extended release. So this brand is Nature's Plus. So I'm going to do a disclaimer here. Don't ever go off any medication until you run this by your doctor. But like I did with my husband, I asked him about him taking this. He still wanted him to take the drug, but once he told me the drug was made with red rice yeast, I knew that this would be a better alternative. And then this is the brand that we take. My husband's going to show you the CoQ10 that he takes. Ooh, you got to get used to this. So that's Now brand. Ooh, it's hard to do it. Got to get used to it. So Now is one of our favorite retailers of vitamins we take now. It's really easy on the stomach. So anyways, then a study at Cleveland Clinic also showed that if you take CoQ10 for heart health, it can actually, even if you are taking statins, so the study showed that people that take prescription statins, many of them get muscle pain. And after 2 months, they go off of it, because who wants to have muscle pain? I probably would go off it too. But when they had those patients take CoQ10 along with the statin in a study, and it was published in 2014 in the Medical Science Monitor, 75% of statin users with muscle pain symptoms had the pain reduced after taking CoQ10 twice a day for 30 days. So there's another blessing to CoQ10. If you are taking a prescription statin and you're having muscle pain, that the Cleveland Clinic found that taking CoQ10 can reduce the muscle pain, and it did in 75% of those that was given to, compared to the placebo group.
And there's other things too. That's good news, honey. There's also other things that CoQ10 does too, right?
Right. In this same study, so they found that taking CoQ10 can raise your good cholesterol, which is important. It found that if you take statins, CoQ10 can reduce the muscle pain and aches that come from taking statins. And this is a biggie too. CoQ10 in this study was, or in another study, randomized study of 420 patients, they found that taking CoQ10 reduced deaths in patients with severe heart failure by 1/2. 50% of the patients, they followed it for 2 years, and 50% of the patients that took CoQ10 after having heart failure, it prevented them from having another heart attack. That's really good news, isn't it? Really good news. That was published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology on heart failure. So taking CoQ10 can prevent you from having further heart attacks if you have had a heart attack.
That's great. And there's also some more things that said about after a heart attack, they had another randomized clinical trial that you can explain to us.
At this trial, it said patients who received, after a heart attack, patients who received CoQ10 soon after a heart attack had a much lower rate of subsequent cardiac events. And about half of those patients in both groups were also taking statin medication. So, and this is what was really amazing to me when I was studying this. Just listen to this, and then we're almost done here. About half the patients in both groups were taking statin medication. But the CoQ10 people were less likely to have another heart attack, even though they were on statins. And this prompted the researchers to report that treatment with CoQ10 in patients with recent heart attack may be beneficial in patients with high-risk atherothrombosis, despite optimal lipid-lowering therapy. So that's saying that just taking cholesterol-lowering drugs after a heart attack is not enough. That they now really recommend at the Cleveland Clinic that you also take CoQ10. And last but not least, another study found that taking CoQ10 can reduce high blood pressure by a significant amount. So people are always out there asking me, how can I lower my blood pressure? Actually, this is news to me that CoQ10 can also help to reduce blood pressure. All of this is very good for helping to prevent heart disease, to prevent another heart attack if you've had one. So this is all really good news of why it's important to take CoQ10 to protect your husband's heart. And yours too, ladies.
Amen. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Share this with your friends and family and anyone that has health needs, especially in this area. And we will see you again on Tuesday. Remember, we're on every Tuesday and Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Have a blessed weekend.
Amen. Bye for now. Good job.